here we have all the material we need to complete this project. This is the pocket, this is the lining, and here are the handles, the bottom of the bag, side panels. This is the leatherette fabric, and the reason I've arranged this is these three are gonna go on top like that, but I have put this the wrong side up so the camera can actually pick up. All cut to pattern, and a little bit of bias binding, and I've also cut strips of denim, just straight strips, and cut it across the length of the pair of denim. Don't cut it the width because sometimes it may be stretchy, so it's about 1 inch wide. The reason we need this is we need this to kind of attach these and have this tiled effect at the front of the bag. Now if you're using an ordinary machine like I do, the leatherette, this is upholstery leather, so it's quite thick. What I do is I normally take a little bit of parchment paper and place this on top and then sew. It just sews beautifully, no problem, just like fabric. Basically this kind of holds onto your presser foot, and it just makes it difficult. You can use a Teflon foot, which is like a PVC plasticky foot, which makes it easier, but you don't need to go and buy it if you don't have one. You can just make do with the things that I'm showing you right now. So let's go ahead one by one and see how to put this back together. If you have just bought a pattern, PDF pattern on my website, just follow the pattern. If you have bought a kit on Hochanda, then I'm just going to explain. Cut this to the entire length of the fabric that you get, and then what we're going to do, this is about 1 inch wide. The denim, it tells you on the pattern how wide and how long to cut. Cut it longer than you need, because if I can, okay, I'm just going to place it like that, and you will see my denim is actually longer than the pattern. The reason being, this may stretch a little bit, so we're gonna cut it to proper length later on. So what I've done, I folded this into half and fold again in the center, and we're gonna place the leatherette strip like that and sew on either side. I'm using a denim thread. Okay, here I have the paper, and there is my denim strip. I know it makes a lot of noise for the camera, but basically I'm just laying it on there like so and sewing it. It's just as simple as that. So if I just show you how this one looks like, if I tear the paper away and I get a neat stitching, just like you do with the normal fabric. Okay, here is the handle that's been done, and it looks really neat. You can see it's about, the leatherette has stretched about 1 inch, 1.5 inches. At this stage, you can either trim this to the length you need or just use the entire length. So as long as both your handles are of the same length, it's absolutely fine. I'm going to leave it as it is because I like longer handles. So I'm just going to trim this excess off and just make sure these two are of the same length. So we have these 3 pieces at the top, and what I want to do is just give a little bit of denim hint showing through there. So cut out about 1 inch, 1.5 inches wide strip of denim, and all we're going to do first is just place it like so and give about maybe 1/4 inch gap, place it like so, and sew on both the sides. Same way we're going to place another denim strip here, and we're going to sew like that. So that's how it looks, and it's always advisable to take the denim strip a little bit extra than what you need, then you can trim it off in a straight line. So what we're going to do now is just exactly the same way, place it like so, trim this, and then place it like so, and then sew a stitch. You will see that there will be a little bit of denim that will be raw edged, but that's okay, that's fine, don't worry too much about it. Okay, I've sewn this one in. I just thought I'll show you how I remove my paper. It's so easy to do. If you rip it apart, if the little paper sticks in between the sewing, the stitches, it's really difficult. Take one side and start pulling like so. And once you've done both the sides, the center just comes off without any issues. And you may have little bits left over which you need to remove just by just by a pin or something. So that's how it looks. And you will also notice that when you join these, there will be a little excess on either side. So when you start joining this piece to the denim, don't start with a straight line, because you need to adjust it because of what we have added here. It will have a little excess. So bring your other panel in, that is that, and you will have a little bit excess on the length and a little bit excess on the side. So you need to trim this off exactly to the size of the other side of your panel. Okay, so I'm just going to make a mark like this, so I know the bottom side that needs to go on attach. And I do the same on this side as well. Okay, so we need to attach this to this one, and this denim panel in between this, and then bring this over and then kind of make it into a circle. So it's basically a straight line. Before you do the final one, we need to do some measuring because it needs to fit exactly to this bottom layer. So let me go and attach this, and then we go on to the next step. So when I go to the sewing machine, I'm just going to take this one, and I'm going to do the two corners here, and I'm going to leave this for now. We're just going to close 1/2 inch seam on these two sidelines. Okay, here is the two panels attached, and I've also done the top stitch, and this is how it looks from the other side. Now what we need to do is bring this and this together and sew a seam here. Before we sew a seam, we just need to make sure this bottom piece, what I've done is I've attached the sides and done a top stitch. Now this needs to fit into this panel. So if you take it from just a match there and see how much of seam allowance you need to take. So this just fits in fine with a 1/2 inch seam allowance like normal. But in case if you have taken a little bit more in any of these attachments, this is the time to adjust it. If you don't, then one of this was going to have a little wrinkle. So what I normally would do is just sew a little line here and try and align this and this and put it in a circle and see if it works. Then I just go ahead. Otherwise, remove the small stitch, either take it in or take it out, just to make sure that you fit this one. So that is the top of the bag. So we need to make sure that that is the bottom part of the bag. And now basically I'm just going to put this in like so, and fit it so the side seam will be matching to the center of the side panel, and then go and sew a stitch and also do the top stitch as well. Okay, so I have attached this panel to the top one, and also sewn in on either side of this seam. It's a top stitch. It's a little bit kind of tricky, but it's not that difficult, because all you have to do is just kind of take this attachment off. You know, this attachment that comes in your sewing machine, take this off, and then it becomes easier for you to kind of go through and do this top stitch. Okay, so now we need to attach the lining. Before we do that, we just need to make sure that we attach the handle first. Okay, so here is the handle, and the handle is going to sit. You can either do it in between like so, or just at the sort of soon after the opening, denim opening there, that kind of sound, looks right to me. So basically just turn it over like so, like that, and hold it in place before you sew a stitch. Now, because we don't have a position like a notch mark, what we need to do is just turn over, and exactly the same position we need to sew in the other handle as well. So pin it in place or hold it in place, and then we're just going to do a stitch, and then we're going to put the lining in and just finish like a tote bag. Here is your lining. Before you attach the lining, we need to attach the pockets. By mistake, I have made the boats all go downwards. Please don't do it if you've got a one-way print, but at least the pocket, I'm gonna put it the right side up. So I have actually folded all around, but what we're gonna do is bind it like so. Let me put this away, and you can see the folds are all in here. So I'm just going to bind the edge. If you want, you can do 2 pockets. Maybe I will do 2 pockets. And the pattern, it just says cut 1, but if you wanted to, you can do 2 pockets. I'm just going to bind this like so, fold it, and just do a patch pocket. So there is the pocket, and we're just going to fold it all around, 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch fold all 3 sides, and place it in the center of the lining and sew an edge stitch. Okay, there is the main part of the bag, and there's a lining that has been sewn in. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring, what I'll do is we'll put this one in like so, and then match the center of the denim to the side seam. So the side seam of the lining should actually fit in the center panel of the denim, and place a pin. So once you've done that, the rest should fall into place. It's always, if your lining is a little tiny bit excess than what you need, it's no problem. So don't worry too much about it, because lining can just plait a little bit in the side seam and tucked away. But a lining should never be smaller than your main panel. Okay, so now go and sew a stitch all around, and then we're gonna turn it through this gap and close the corners. Okay, so what we need to do now is bring the bag out through this opening here, and your lining will sit like that. Okay, so now push this in, push the lining in, and we're going to do a top stitch later on, but before we do that, we just need to close these 2 corners. So let's get this one out. And through this opening here, we're just gonna go in and open these 2 corners and hold the denim straight up, so the L-shaped cut that we have made for the base of the bag will sit in a straight line like so, and then match that to the lining, and then we go and sew a 1/2 inch seam, starting and finishing with the back stitch. Same way we're going to do that, and then close the seams here. Okay, so now all we need to do is we've closed the 2 corners. We need to just hold this gap in and just do an edge stitch right at the edge. And once we've done that, we're going to turn over, and I have pinned it all around and going to do a top stitch. So there you have it, guys. I have done a top stitch, slightly more than 1/4 inch. So I edged my presser foot to the edge of this the top, and then did a top stitch. That way it kind of puts the lining in place. And again, I had to use the parchment paper, baking paper on top, just to make sure that I get a smooth line. So it could be used as a double-sided bag, but I think with the denim it really kind of lifts the leather part of the bag up. And because you've got the combination of leather and the denim, it makes it a lot more easier to sew even on an ordinary sewing machine. If you like this project, hit the like button and subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching.